getting ready to seize your first opportunity to come into the ring and start grandstanding and hot dogging, yeah!
I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
When we speak, our voices are heard. We all say, I bring it.
Welcome to the newest podcast on the internet. Welcome to Malice Smack Talk. I am your host, Masonic Vader. With me always is MindFreak as he's laughing at me.
The fact that you almost said Reddit kills me. But what's up, everybody? How we all doing?
Yeah. And then, of course, we got Marty with us as well.
Let's ring that bell and get this started.
Ding, 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 ding. Roll it, man. Roll it. All right, so we sorry we missed you last week. Apparently the flu and sinus infections and everything took me out, and it just kind of sucks. So rather than listen to nasal drip all week, we decided to skip and come back. We've got some great stuff going on today. Let's go through some news really quick and get everybody caught up. Before we do that, though, I just want to take a minute to thank our host site, Malice Corp, and you can see up here in the left here, you have all of our ways you can follow us. Please, by all means, check us out. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We'll give you some more stuff later, but thank you very much to Malice Corp. News this week. Big news dropped down on Tuesday that TNA signed Rich Swann. What do you guys think about that?
As long as it's not on the WWE and on my TV every week, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, part of the cruiserweights, yeah, that's a big thing. So the stuff that they can do is incredible. But we get enough dancing with some other people, so I have to agree with Janetty on that one. No more seeing Rich Swann on their TVs anymore. Yeah,
you know what though, man? His take the dancing away. He was good in the ring, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the dancing just for me just trumped it.
Yeah, It sucks that he has to have that personal stuff going on, man. I mean, but at the same time, it's good that wrestling's cracking down on stuff like that, man, because there's no room for it. If you're out there making that much money, it's like professional football, professional baseball. You're making that money, man. Keep your stuff straight.
Absolutely, it doesn't matter what it comes down to. There should be zero tolerance for any of that. But when it comes to Rich Swann, I think he's an extremely great talent. No matter what roster he's on. However, I just feel like there was nothing really memorable coming out of him, with the exception of some whatever feuds he had with Neville or even Enzo. But and then his little story with Cedric Alexander and all that. But his mic, nothing, no promos really stick out from him. So not really much of a. He's been gone for a few months now, and really haven't missed him.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing him in TJP because they were really starting to push that when he got bounced. But it is what it is. You mess up, you got to find a new home, man. Beg for forgiveness later, I guess. I heard there was some other kind of news going on. I don't know.
Yeah. Just something we can just fly. Nothing big. Just a $1 billion deal.
$1 billion! Oh my God! Holy crap! So Fox buys the rights of SmackDown, or at least to show it, for $1 billion.
That is just ridiculous, and the fact that it's going to be a 5-year plan that starts next October of 19. My goodness, that's fantastic.
That is intense. I never saw it coming.
Have something to do on Friday nights now. That's for sure.
Well, they haven't said it for sure yet.
But they haven't said it for sure, but some of the reports and stuff that I read about it too looked like they were going to try to maybe get into a Friday night spot. But I mean, that's almost a little over a year from now, so I mean that could easily change.
Not only that, but they're looking at even moving it to a 3-hour show if it moves to Friday nights is what they're aiming for. So we were talking about a couple weeks ago about SmackDown getting that 3 hours and whether or not they would get it if they moved to a network television show or channel. And it looks like that's the plan that they're going with. And that if they do that, we're no longer talking about an A show and a B show. We're talking about 2 powerhouse shows going at it with each other.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that I'm hoping that the way they're going to be doing it is, I mean, unfortunately right now they're co-branding all the pay-per-views. But I'm hoping that when it finally goes into place and they do the channel switch and they hopefully do the 3 hours, because like I said, we were talking about it. It's what that show needs, because they don't have enough time to showcase all the talent they have, that they could hopefully eventually get back to splitting the brands again, or as far as the pay-per-views now, because now you, like you said, you're going to have two powerhouse shows going at tooth and nail. And I think that's going to be great competition for it. I'm just, to be perfectly honest, I'm just still freaking dumbfounded the fact that it's $1 billion freaking dollars.
Well, if you didn't see the news this morning, UFC signed a contract with ESPN. So all that money that Fox is dishing out for UFC is all free now. So with all that allocation, it's going straight to there. And, you know, one of the reports that I saw was that this might even have some other dealings going on with this, to where this might actually include some XFL with this. And if that's the case, then not only does Vince have his foot in the door, bring it to network TV, but you're going to get some different programming going on with that, because you're going to get more revenue coming in just from football alone.
Not only that, it puts, to me too, it kind of puts a big strand on NBC on what they're going to do in the future, you know, with Raw as well. So that kind of just opens it up a little bit more. Like, is NBC going to give them a good contract for Raw, or could we maybe see Raw going to Fox as well? That's another thing you kind of want to take into consideration.
Yeah, but NBC just signed a new contract for Raw this last week. That's why everybody was at the NBC Universal in New York at Radio City Music Hall with the whole Ronda being called out by Nia Jax, which we didn't get a chance to talk about last week. But, you know, that was what that point was the fact they were doing all the new shows that were being signed back on, and they had just signed a new contract for Monday Night Raw. So I don't think we're going to see that coming to network TV anytime soon.
Yeah, anytime soon, but I'm just saying it could open something up later on, way down the road.
NBC's not dumb enough to lose WWE or sell it off all the way completely. They've obviously understood that it's carrying USA Network. It's their big draw for that channel.
And then, but not only that, you're adding on Ms. and Mrs. too, which finally has a release date, which we'll get into later on.
Yeah,
It's two big powerhouses, so it's going to see kind of like, you know, what's going to be better in the long run for the company after these contracts end, and say 5-6 years down the road.
Yeah, and then you look at the USA channel. You know, you get the crossovers between the WWE's talents and then crossing over to the TV shows. Charlotte had some, The Miz has had some, and obviously other superstars have in the years. You know, now we're looking at Fox, which is a network channel that has network TV going up against the biggest ones that are out there, and all these shows. We can see more crossovers now with some other, you know, guys on the roster, whether, you know, seeing someone coming as a villain on Gotham or something like that. But you know, they have more exposure mainstream than they ever had before.
Well, no, they still had that with NBC, because you have to remember, man, that's where they had them cross over on Saturday Night Live. That's where, you know, the Big Show kind of came out a little bit with the acting skills. Same with Triple H. And then they had
all because of The Rock. That's why they were all there. So
no. They did have. There has been other people that have gone on Saturday Night Live as well,
right.
And they've also spanned out, like when they had some of the shows on USA, which is also NBC, Psych and everything like that. They were crossing over.
And I'm talking. I've already talked about that. That's why I'm talking about network shows. You know, that are prime time. They're not having, you know, with the exception of Cena or The Rock coming onto a mainstream show. You know, we haven't seen that on mainstream primetime TV. And I think with them moving to Fox, it opens those doors for a lot more to happen.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's $1 billion, man. It's huge. It's going to be, it's obviously great for WWE, because they're going to be able to maintain their stay and everything. And hopefully, like I said, we get those 3 hours that might bring even more talent over, and hopefully they'll give an extra hour to freaking NXT too. What the hell? Yeah. So there you go, guys. There's the news of the week. Woo! All right, moving on. Let's start talking about the two shows. Start off with Raw. Now, before we totally dive into it, I'm going to tell you right now, whoever produced Raw, especially, I'm just going to throw out the Sami Zayn talking to Bobby Lashley's sister stuff. That has got to be the worst freaking thing I've seen in God knows how long.
Since the Bayley and Alexa Bliss promo.
Yeah.
No, I think it goes farther than that, man. I think Bayley and Alexa Bliss had a little bit more to it. That was just a garbage freaking time. It was safe to say if you have our Twitter account, you go back and follow it. There was maybe some stuff thrown on there too. And it's weird because I remember reading somewhere too that was the same day they announced the $1 billion buyout or something, and then they produced such a, I don't know, the show itself wasn't that great. It was a little sluggish. I felt the highlight was once again Seth Rollins just tearing this place apart.
Absolutely. Like I mean, with the push that they're giving Seth too, but I mean he's deserving of it. I mean, look at where he's gone, and he's just within like this last year. I mean, I can't even count how many incredible matches he's had, and we're only 5 months into the year right now. I mean, compared to some of the matches he had, last year, I know, coming off the injury, it wasn't, the best, but now it looked like he never even had the injury. Like he's just blowing it up. I mean, he's been stealing the show almost every single where that he goes.
If you ever had to look at anybody and say, when are they peaking? When's that moment they were at their highest? That moment comes right now for Seth Rollins. He was the champion. He was, but he had the authority with him. He had J&J security. He had all the guys behind him, Randy, Big Show, that were supporting him the entire time. And you just never really saw him on his own because that came straight. And then after that, he had the feuds with Dean and whatever it may be after that, and the injury, come back. But right now, he's hitting all strides, and he's on fire. It's burning it down for a reason. He is Monday Night Rollins because he is the one superstar on that roster who's just destroying it and tearing it apart week in, week out, giving 5-star matches on a regular TV show. That's not even counting what he's doing on pay-per-views. But I don't think anybody in the roster is hotter than him right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned the I think what really makes Seth Rollins where he's at right now, his athletic ability is freaking unheard of. His matches are just pay-per-view quality every freaking time. But you were mentioning earlier about when he had his first title run and he had like J&J security and stuff like that, not just a second ago. I actually think that actually made Seth Rollins his best. And the reason why I say that is because that's where he developed Seth freaking Rollins, the personality as a whole. You had the Shield before. He became the Architect, and then that's where he got his mic skills. I'm not saying he didn't have it before, but it blew up the personification of Seth freaking Rollins. And now taking that and combining it with him coming back from his injury and just being on point, man, I'm crossing my fingers that, man, he leaves his knee brace on all the time and that bionic knee stays going, because he's getting borderline point where if they really start running this, he could possibly get Stone Cold level as far as carrying the show. John Cena, everyone knows John Cena right now is going the slow walk out the door. He's not exiting out to go into a movie or anything like that. He's staying around, but you could see the focus is slowly but surely pulling away from him. And Seth Rollins is jumping in that like, hey, I'm taking this opportunity. I'm going to be the freaking face of the company now for the next 15, 20 years, and you could see it happening, man. And it's exciting. It's like the Stone Cold taking over. It's like when Daniel Bryan went over with the fans right before he got injured. That's why I'm hoping, man, that bionic knee stays in shape, because the last thing we need to have is the neck going out, the freaking the diagnosis saying he has to retire, the Edge thing. We don't need that right now. If that were to happen to Seth Rollins right now, it would be very horrible for wrestling right now.
Yeah, and to go with what you said, I totally agree with you. Back when he had the authority behind him, I think that's when Seth Rollins came in his own on the mic. That's when he polished himself up. That's where he learned how to be that commanding, command the crowd on the mic and own it. But right now, he has that already. He obviously was a great superstar. He's always had the talent, but now he's putting it all together. And the fact that he's past that time of, let me get this feeling and see how my knee's going to react, and knows you can see the confidence in him. Look at that first match he had with Finn Balor when he first came back. There was nothing happening there. It was like, okay, this is kind of a wishy-washy match. They're both trying to protect themselves, and then all of a sudden, flip the switch, and now he's just unstoppable. The moves he's doing, the spots he's taking, he's putting it all together. He's developed all these different things throughout his career so far. But now he's finally pulling them all together, which is why I think he's just on top of a roster for everybody.
Yeah, and like even to go at that point too. I mean, with all of the moves that he's learned over the years and the combos that he's putting out nowadays, And one of the things I love too is the fact that he brought the stomp back. They're letting him do the stomp again, which I think was it's a good finisher. It fits him. I mean, when he was doing the pedigree for a while, like, okay, yeah, cool, he's doing the pedigree, but I mean, that was Triple H's move. I mean, I get it, the whole authority and all that kind of thing. But the fact that he's on his own, he's doing his own thing, he has the stomp back, and that the whole sequence leading up to when he does the stomp is great. But also, so they say when he does the superplex off the top rope and go that into a Falcon Arrow. It's just the combinations that he's doing nowadays. It's just like, to the point. He's the one that's kind of jumping into that thing like, hey, Cena's on the way out. I got it on my back now. On Monday Night Rollins. Let's do this.
Yeah, and then if you look at that match, at the end with him and Kevin Owens, it had some reminiscence of their indie days and their Ring of Honor days, because the way that they were fighting back and forth. And then he had, the fake, he jumped out of the way of the first curb stomp just to get it again, and the way he came back and got him the second time was just perfect way to end that match.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy that he's still in the show and he's match number 3. I mean, at this point, I think the guys who are producing the shows need to find out that they need to move Seth Rollins' matches now closer to the 3rd hour, because the way he's been going right now, after you watch his show, his match, it's like, dude, why else do I want to watch anything else? That is literally the main event every night. And it doesn't matter who he has with him right now. So Seth freaking Rollins is on fire right now. The Raw as a whole. Let's go through some other matches. I thought that
before we move to another match, I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So obviously you saw how that match end. Obviously he came out and the match started because he came to Roman's side. They hugged it out at the end of it. They did their thing. What are you guys' thoughts on that becoming a forecast to something happening with the program for the two of them for the IC title later down the road? So I think that's where it's headed.
I don't know. I think what I see out of it is that they're always going to keep the Shield close. They're not going to have it running full go though, and I think it's going to be a loose faction, which is fine because you don't need to have freaking stables running the freaking show. I think sometimes wrestling forgets that stables are boring as hell if they're not run the right way and if you've got too many of them. And
even so, like when they did the Shield reunion, they came out of the Shield, but then also at the same time they were kind of doing their own things. Before Dean was injured, you kind of had him and Rollins working the tag team. But then there's times where hey, Roman needs help. All right, we're coming out together as a Shield kind of thing. So to your point, where they're a good stable, but at the same time, you got so much good talent within the 3 superstars themselves that you don't need to keep them as a permanent stable. They're always to both your points. They're always going to have that reminiscence of the Shield being back, and I think kind of why they're not necessarily pushing the stable even more is the fact that Dean is gone too.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's smart that they're doing what they do because they've all been successful singly. Or individual competition, so they don't need to worry about keeping themselves together to have relevance. They could do just fine without it. Moving on, you got you had the tag team match with Rollins and Reigns versus Mahal and Owens. You kind of go through the fact that Roman Reigns beat Owens, obviously from DQ, and then they did the tag team match. I know that there's probably some negative vibes here on this, but I'm still going to throw it out there. Jinder Mahal is probably the best bad guy, if you want to call it, right now on the roster right now. He has so much anger from the fans right now. Like no matter what he does, they get a pop off of him. And I think it was good that they put him into the match. I think they need to start working him a little differently where they keep him. Now, I don't want to say title contention. Obviously, they gave him his title run. He did good. He brought a lot of anger and a lot of negative vibes, so it was able to bring a face over. But they need to keep him close because he's still got a lot of heat on him, and the fans react really well to him as far as when he comes out. They just don't want to have him. His mic skills are a hell of a lot better when he first came in, when he was with 3MB, and I was actually pretty impressed. I like that match, the tag team match with him too, and Jinder Mahal is still doing his thing.
Yeah, look at the way that night ended with him. He came out of nowhere, thought he was laying on the side of the ring, and just destroyed Roman and Seth at the end on the way out of the ramp.
Oh yeah, with that chair with no mercy, man. Absolutely.
So he absolutely. I don't think he's the best heel on the roster on either brand, but I do think he's the most hated man.
Oh, he's got the most heat by far. I think he's
not most heat. Let's be honest here. The one guy's got more heat than anybody else on the entire roster is Roman Reigns.
He does, but his heat
is most hated heat.
But here's the thing, though. He's got fans, though. He's got fans. There's a lot of people that are rooting for Roman Reigns. You hear it, but it's just the people that hate Roman Reigns are much louder than his fans because he's almost like getting Cena close to where kids and the ladies and everything follow him. The guys are like, all right, dude, we're done with this, you know? But and that's why I was saying, as far as for the heel side of it, Mahal is like the only one true heel that's really pulling a lot of heat every time he comes out. No doubt about it.
And I think it was Graves that said it too. It's just like, I mean, look where he was on Raw, before he went over to SmackDown, kind of like a mid-card jobber here and there. Goes to SmackDown, and SmackDown Land of Opportunity. Look what it did for his career. Look what shot. He held the title for what was like 5, 6, 7 months, I think it was.
Yep.
Somewhere in there, and then dropped the title, but for obvious reasons, with the match, the AJ Brock and Cargill did something different. But to the fact now, to your point, he's a good heel. I don't think he's the best heel on the entire roster on either side. But I mean, that's my 2 cents on it because you guys know who one of my favorite heels is. But
we're gonna talk about some Miz TV.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Hey, so how about the B team, dude? I'm liking it, bro. I'm loving it.
I do too.
Music, dude. And the fact they did. I mean, they came out and just beat Breezango, which is fantastic, and it goes along with. I'm just gonna throw it out there right now. Most of Raw was just a bunch of smash matches the entire night.
Yeah,
there's some good quality matches, but if you look at all the victories, I would say majority of the victories were just clean, beat up, and clean count victories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the only thing I wish they would stop doing with the B team, it's already starting to get old, is the celebration stuff at the end. Now when they were at the table, at the announcers table doing their thing, that was funny. But the freaking constant like tackling and hugging and stuff, it's getting old already. And I want them to keep that whole like, holy crap, we won again thing. But man, they're taking it over too much. They got to back that down a little bit. Come up with some different celebrations. Make it like a touchdown celebration thing every week,
Right.
Right.
And then of course you've got the contract signing between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey. And where I go on this is, I'm just gonna say it, I still can't stand Stephanie McMahon when they put her in that role.
One
thing about that thing was like, anytime they have to have anything with the women roster, Stephanie always has to insert herself, and it's irritating. She's supposed to be this evil authority figure, and then she comes out, oh, we're gonna be happy, we're gonna do this for the women's revolution. You can't be that role. We didn't see Vince coming out and be the good guy and then be the bad guy. He came out trying to be the good guy, knowing he was going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, she comes out to put her foot down and push Kurt out. That would have been so much smoother, so much better. The promos and back and forth between Ronda and Stephanie they came flat. Yeah, and it would have been better with Kurt there.
Yeah, but not only that too. Like it's to the same extent at the beginning of the show. Like Kevin came out and then she kind of just brushed Kevin off. I mean, you have 2 heel characters. Why are you trying to use one heel to push Stephanie over when we already know she's a heel?
Now, before you go forward, I want to say that part of the show with Stephanie McMahon coming out, fine with me. That was actually good. In fact, the part where Kevin Owens puts his arm on her and she gives her the freaking Vince McMahon look, enough said. That was exactly what you needed. What I'm talking about is the whole like, talking like, Nia, you can't do this. And,
exactly. And to my point, when she came out, she did a great promo for like one of the first times we've seen her since WrestleMania. And then to come back out with the women contract signings is to make it go like stale, flat,
Yeah, it was a fun.
2 different characters within an hour and a half, and that just doesn't fly. I mean, we're not the universe.
3 if you count the one at the end, but we'll get to that.
I mean, they are trying to push this match. I'm starting to see a little anxious or a little nervousness in how they're pushing it though, because I think it's and I like how Ronda Rousey even said, there's other people deserving of it. But I'm not going to pass this opportunity up if you're going to give it to me. But I'm starting to see a little bit of a nervousness in this and saying, are we doing this too quick? Is Nia? Yeah. I mean, because I don't know, man. Can you see Nia Jax beating Ronda Rousey square up?
So, I mean, I had completely different thoughts about this compared to last week when she challenged her. I was like, oh, snap, Nia's challenging Ronda. Okay, is this because it's like a mutual respect thing? Because, you're the best one of the planet, I'm the irresistible force, we're friends. I think this would be a great match. To where, this past week, where it's just like Stephanie coming in and kind of trying to drive that wedge between them and try to make something out when they could have been built completely different. And then instead of just like, oh, well, I can beat you. Well, can you really beat me? Well, I don't know. Can you really beat me kind of thing? That's just like, okay, that's kind of like, why are you going to do it that way when you could have just been like, hey, I want to challenge you because you're the best woman on the planet and I want to test my skills against you.
Exactly. And that's where Stephanie messed it up.
And I kind of see this thing going two ways, and I'm going to kind of cross a lot in fantasy booker right now. I think this is going to be one of two things. I do not think that Ronda's coming out of this match as champion. I just don't think they're going to pull that trigger quite yet. This is going to be a match that's going to go either they're going to have Ronda just beat down and show Nia take a beat down and then get the win and show that she could still get the win even if she gets beat down because that's just who she is. Because she's this big woman who's just not gonna lose, even if she does get a beating. We've seen Roman get beat up and then he wins the match, or Brock get beat up and then he wins the match. I think they're gonna build her up like that. The other thing is, it depends on where they're gonna line up this lineup on the card that night. And they do the women's battle Money in the Bank earlier in the night. I feel that and we'll get to this a little bit later, but if they end up going the route with Natty winning this belt or this briefcase, I think that's going to see, even if she doesn't win it, actually, I think that there's going to be interference and it's going to come into even with Natty or even somebody as long the lines of Ruby Riott or something like that are going to come out and interrupt this match because I feel that the women on the roster are going to come out and say, they're going to be the ones that come into the match. They just have this Money in the Bank match, which I guarantee is going to be an awesome match. It's going to be better than last year. That's for dang sure. Yeah. But they're going to have the animosity to where, no one's really said anything about the women in the back, being happy or upset whether or not Ronda's getting this title match. And I think we're going to see that come up that night. And I think that's what's going to cause Ronda the match. And I think that's one reason why she's not going to walk out with that title.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hopefully no one will say anything because in real life she'll knock them the hell out. I mean.
That's true.
I'm sorry, man. It's very I'm very excited to see Ronda Rousey in this element, but there's always that side that just says, oh, "Okay, come on, man. Alexa Bliss is never going to beat her in a one-on-one fight ever." Hell, Nia Jax, I think, and Tamina are probably the only ones that might have a chance.
Mm-hmm. And that was something that kind of got on my nerves about that whole too. Is like, well, yeah, you beat Alexa Bliss, but look how long it took you to beat Alexa. I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah, it's one of those things where we just got to kind of push through the SummerSlam, I guess. I mean, Money in the Bank is going to take care of itself, but it's going to drag. I know they're going to do something. It's just going to drag it through, and we're just going to have to listen to it all summer long. Couple other matches I saw that really I thought piqued my interest was what you already mentioned, one about Natalya. Natalya winning the qualifier match. I think that's good because Natalya, since coming to Raw, has been getting a good push. She's still the veteran. She's still doing her matches. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago that she's still probably one of the most solid performers there. So I'm glad they're giving her the opportunity to at least be in the Money in the Bank. I think there's a couple more spots available left, so we'll kind of see how everything fills in. But that was a really good match to see. She ended up pulling out the victory, getting the qualifier. And then the other one was the Braun Strowman and Finn Balor match. I like that match as well. Those were the two solid matches, I think, to finish out Raw. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match. I mean, I liked how they both kind of went in, trying to get a match against, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. which I thought would have been another good match, kind of the rematch. But then when Stephanie's like, yeah, no, there's some competition here. Why don't you guys just go fight? I was just like, oh, one of those kind of fights. I mean, it was still a good match. I mean, both competitors, seeing both of them, Finn and Braun go at it, kind of give us a little preview of what's going to happen at Money in the Bank, and I get, the route that they're going. But me personally, I want to see more of Dolph and Drew. But that's me.
Forget that, man. Reverse that, dude. I want to see more Drew, dude. Drew has been tearing it up since he's been back. Come on. So, I mean, so Raw was like you said, Janetty, he was pretty, I don't know, I was flat. There was a couple good high spots in there, but it was, for the most part, just pushing on and trying to get closer to Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
so, so let's move the SmackDown. SmackDown was actually a better one of the better shows they've had in a while, which I was excited about. I don't want to go right into the end because the ending right there was like that was the cherry in the top.
We'll hold that one to the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be right. I'm gonna come out and say two things that I am completely happy about. One, which is kind of what I was kind of hoping was going to happen, and that's going to be the Shinsuke and the AJ Styles stipulation come out.
No,
I wish we were on last week because no BS, dude. And I'm not saying I'm some kind of a like I should be doing this kind of job kind of thing, but there's certain times, and you could talk to my old buddy Nick, who we used to drink Red Dogs and watch pay-per-views on certain boxes that you could buy in the back of the Sporting News back in the day.
Pulling out the MD 2020.
But we would be sitting there, and we'd say, okay, he's going to win. He's going to win. This is how he's going to win. We had it. Man, I saw that coming last week, and when the show started, when they were talking about the announcer, I was like, dude, that's the only match they're going to be able to pull off as a last man standing because of the simple fact that you get kicked in the nuts, both of them, and they count them out, and blah, blah, blah. So they're going to do a last man standing match, and with AJ, I don't know. I think there could have been a different match. I'm not saying which one it was. But it was just obviously the match they were trying to push. Maybe I think an Iron Man match probably would have been cooler to have.
That's kind of where I was going. I was thinking that he was going to be one of two matches. He's either going to be an Iron Man match or a last man standing match. And when it comes down to it, the fact that they're co-branded and this is Money in the Bank has kind of become, a top 5, maybe even pushing into a top 4 pay-per-view of the year because of what it stands for and what it holds on for the rest of the year. It's going to be something big. So you're going to have a lot going on this on this card that I feel like if you were to do a Iron Man match, it would have to be a 60-minute because they've already had 24, 25, 26. A 30-minute Iron Man match just really wouldn't have done anything. So it would have to have been 60 minutes. And at that point, you're taking a third or a quarter of the show for one match. So I feel like the last man standing.
When has an Iron Man match never been 60 minutes other than when Bayley, and that was the Iron Woman match, if you want to call it, have it right. I've always seen Iron Man matches being 60 minutes.
They've done 30 minutes.
Yeah, they have.
They suck then. No,
I'm not saying they're great. I'm just saying they've done it.
Yeah, they have.
For what they do, I mean, it was going to come down to a last man or an Iron Man match, and that's what it was going to do. And for what they're going to do with that card, the only logical thought and mindset was going to be the last man standing match. And I feel that if it's a last man standing match, we are going to get a match of the year match candidate right out of that.
Absolutely.
That night.
Like for me, I was thinking it's most likely going to be a last man standing match. So that was kind of what I was thinking, just based on how stuff's been ending, what's going on. But kind of in the promo when Shinsuke kept looking up, I'm like, are they going to do a hanging title match, like a ladder match? Like that, it crossed my mind. I'm not gonna lie, just because of the body language and what he was doing. But then when he started counting out, I'm like, oh, yep, it's the last man standing match. Like the minute he started doing the count out, you kind of just knew that was happening. And interesting enough, I don't know if you guys heard, since we're still talking about Styles and Nakamura. Did you guys hear about the dark match after SmackDown, or one of the dark matches?
I heard something, but go ahead and throw it out there.
It was going to be Shinsuke and AJ. But like the minute the bell rang, the bar came out, and they just started, decimating AJ. And then who shows up? A couple good brothers come in, and then it was like the second part of like the 2 match, just kind of like just a little thing thrown out there. Like it kind of ended with the good brothers and another little club reunion, kind of in the dark match kind of setting. So
gotcha.
You could see it. And that can kind of lead up to the next talking point. Some good brother.
Hold on.
Wait. Janetty wants to say something. Go for it.
You guys were disappointed that we're not getting a pillow match?
Oh, damn it.
Okay, yeah. The King of
Oh, man. I was like, wait,
that was a great.
But yes, the next point. And then the second thing I was happy about, as much as I love my Usos.
Me too.
The club is some good brothers.
Some good brothers.
Okay, so here's what I liked about that match, and it was even before the match started. Thank God they brought the Usos personality back. I don't know where the hell it's been for like the last couple months, but that was the first time I've seen the Usos come back out with the penitentiary in a while. And I don't know if they're trying to make it to where, they're not the same after losing or whatever, but they need that. Because
I can tell you where it's been. It's been hiding in a pile of pancakes.
Yeah. Wait, shame.
That was great.
Shame.
That was great.
Hold
we'll
on.
get to that.
Just mention real quick. I have to do it because it was so obvious. See the pancake placement on Xavier's vest that night?
Yeah.
If you haven't, go back and look at Xavier's pancake placement on his vest.
Yeah.
Ridiculous and full blown out there.
Yeah.
Go on.
We'll get back to that, but to the Good Brothers.
No, the Good Brothers, definitely. It's about time they finally get their title shot. They've been in there long enough. I still laugh though, because every time I see the Good Brothers, I think Festus. I'm sorry, you can't get away from the fact that's freaking Festus, This is Festus. For you old school people, and it ain't even old school, it's like maybe 8-10 years ago. It's Festus. And they're trying to push him through. So I keep seeing that all the time. But ultimately, though, it is a good push nonetheless. The tag team division is overflooded with too many good tag teams, and they put it on the back burner last couple months.
They have, and something like I heard like a rumor with that too. It's like from what I heard, the reason they really haven't been pushing tag teams, or we haven't really seen much of the tag teams, is because they think the fans thinking the tag teams are stale. How are the tag teams stale? The tag team division is one of my personally favorite divisions.
The tag team stale because they were only fighting and showcasing 3 tag teams: the Bar, the Usos, and the New Day, and everybody else was just thrown in there. And that's why it kind of got stale. We're seeing the New Day and the Usos fight for the 500th time in a year and a half. Kind of gets oversaturated. Yeah. But that's what's awesome. The fact that, and what I liked about the fact that they won that match was that there was nothing gimmicky about it. It just, they came out, they had a great match back and forth between the 4 guys. They came out, did their move, finished them out, and then got the pin for the win. And it was just, there was nothing gimmicky about it. It was just a clean finish. And then they got in and got out. And I think that, with the program that we can see between them and the Bludgeon Brothers, it's going to be a great program.
Oh, absolutely.
Whenever that title's change, I do think that this is the time for the club to go ahead and get those belts.
Yeah, so I hate to throw a damper on there, dude, but I ain't gonna lie, dude. I think the Bludgeon Brothers are gonna push the Bludgeon Brothers to beat them senseless again.
Oh, they are. They're going to win. But this program is going to be more than one match.
Oh, absolutely. And what it can kind of lead up to, too, is like kind of leading up to like if AJ retains the title or if they give it to Shinsuke and AJ wins it later on down the road, kind of not necessarily have it stable, but you have the club back. And then that kind of leads you up for another superstar shakeup to where if you can get, the club and Finn all on the same show.
You mean like Finn winning the Money in the Bank and has the belt or the briefcase to go along with the belt and the tag team belts?
Exactly. So, but then it's like, all right, well, whose club's better? Was it when Finn was leading, or was it when AJ was leading? It kind of leads up with that whole thing, which I know me and you've talked about.
Oh, there you go. Then here, I'll foreshadow for you. 6 months from now, and AJ is going to lose custody of Festus, and he's only going to be able to keep one of them.
God.
Yeah, the thing I liked about SmackDown, and I hope they continue doing this. Sorry if I keep zooming in and out. I have to adjust. Is the fact that they don't have any freaking stables. Mm-hmm. And it's all just the wrestlers doing their thing and they're teaming up and everything. Once again, no stables. I'm really hoping they keep the club away. You can't use the club. And the reason why I say that is because it's not the club. It's not. We know what the club's name's supposed to be, and they're not going to get that title. So there's no need to bring in, the club. I mean, it doesn't have the same ring. It won't bring the same oomph that it has in Japan.
It won't bring the same oomph that it has in Japan. You're right, but it did bring an oomph when they were all heels, and they had one of my favorite segments they did a couple years, and that was I'm beating up John Cena. That's all I gotta say. I see Janetty smiling.
It will never be the Bullet Club, and it's not going to be. And I think what the two factions are doing is awesome, but the excitement that those guys bring when they're hinting at or playing at the club, people know the hardcore wrestling fans know what that means, and they may not get the Bullet Club as the traditional standing of the Bullet Club, but you are getting the OGBC. And and what it comes down to is that the excitement those guys bring to the ring when they're all together, it brings back reminiscence of the NWO, of the DX, even going back further to when the Four Horsemen were together. When those guys were in the ring and doing the together.
I'm going to stop you. You cannot. I'm sorry. The Four Horsemen as a whole, you can't put Bullet Club in the Four Horsemen category. You could throw DX in there. And you could even put maybe a little bit of a notch as far as what was the faction Triple H and Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista.
Evolution.
Evolution. You could even throw that in there, but I don't think Bullet Club will ever get, and I don't think you should put it up next to the Four Horsemen.
So,
it's
nowhere even going on. I'm not comparing the level of them or comparing who's better. I'm not even coming close to even comparing that. I don't think that the club or Bullet Club will ever be as big as DX was. What I'm saying is the excitement that group brings to the ring, and whoever brings whatever brings what. There was a certain amount of excitement that when NWO came to the ring, or there was some aspect of when the Four Horsemen were together, whichever variation of the Four Horsemen it was. Whenever they came to the ring, people knew what was going to happen. When NWO came to the ring, people knew what they were going to get. When the DX came together, you knew what they were going to get, whether it was Shawn and Hunter, or Hunter's DX with X-Pac and Road Dogg and the Outlaws. It didn't matter. I'm not comparing, who was better or who was hotter. What I'm comparing is
crowd reaction. Exactly the crowd.
Yeah.
So here's how I could throw it in there and kind of give you from a perspective that I think it'll fail. And I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's because they're not a good club, but just take it from this. I am a diehard WWE fan since day one. There was a time where I was watching a little WCW, and there was even a time when I was really kind of looking a little TNA and stuff. But you have to understand, a majority of the fans that show up night after night to these to the live shows and the pay-per-views and the Monday nights and Tuesday nights, whatever, are actual WWE fans. So they're not the hardcore wrestling fans that know what the Bullet Club is. And to bring in the Bullet Club or the club as a whole, it gets wasted on the WWE fans because they haven't been saturated, or they haven't gone out their comfort zone in a sense. And I can honestly say that. I haven't gone out of my comfort zone to watch New Japan Wrestling or go out and do anything like that on a consistent basis where I would keep following it, or Ring of Honor or anything like that. And that's what I would hate for them to try to bring it back, or try to bring club into the WWE, because it would be wasted on the WWE fan base.
And I hear what you're saying.
I
completely disagree with you. When it comes down to it, yes, I get what you're saying as far as, it could be wasted. The majority of the fans out there aren't going to know it, but you're not looking at the majority of the fans. You're looking at the loudest fans. And the loudest fans at every show, and I go to a lot of shows, the majority of the loudest fans out there are going to be the guys who are watching indie shows, who are watching Ring of Honor, who are watching New Japan. And I make an effort because I watch all aspects of wrestling all week long, whether it's Ring of Honor on Thursdays or New Japan throughout the week. I'm watching all those events. I have my subscriptions to all three of them, and I'm watching this and see what they're doing. And when you go to those shows, you can go to a WWE live event, and you're going to see Bullet Club clothes. You're going to see Ring of Honor stuff. You're going to see Young Bucks. You're going to see Cody. You're going to, because these guys are becoming more mainstream. Wrestling has never been as I'm not going to say as big or as popular as it is, because it has been, but it's never been as much out there for the wrestling fan as there is right now, because
it's more worldwide. It's more distributed.
It is. Yes. And it's more quality worldwide.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And so when you get these guys who are the loudest fans out there are the guys who are listening to podcasts, are the guys listening to interviews, are the guys watching Ring of Honor. When the booing for Roman started, and I can guarantee it goes back to right after a CM Punk interview happened, and after that, so all the CM Punk marks that heard him say it are the ones that are booing the next night. Now, that's contagious. So when the people who are WWE are listening to this, they're going to join in because they're going to, half the time they're sheep, and they're going to follow the marks who are being loudest. Because where does the excitement of fun happen at any live event, whether it's any sport, it's going to be from where the loudest is coming from, because that's where the party's at.
But now here's the thing, though. Yep. This is the thing, though. You are talking WWE, though. And if you could always see something about WWE is that if Club was so solid right from the start, if it's that big, they would have used it right from the beginning. WWE does that. They didn't use it much. It went very fast. I mean, if it was if they think they could make something off of the Club, it would still be going right now. But when all these guys got pushed into NXT, because that's now their system, they go through NXT to be moved up to the big show. Club wasn't pushed in NXT, and they were all. Well, let me finish. Okay. They were all brought in to make their own individual kind of things. It was their tag team. It was AJ Styles, and they pushed them through. AJ Styles obviously going straight to SmackDown, but like the tag team, everybody else, they come in, they get their own personality. Everyone for the diehard fans you're talking about, absolutely, they know what the Club is. But for that 95% of the fan base that goes to these events, they might not be the loudest, but they're the ones that buy the T-shirts and everything like that. That's what WWE caters to. And as their individual or the new WWE personas flourish and they become stronger, that's when they start tapping it, but they'll never go full Club. Because not everyone understands it yet until they finally get the rights to use Bullet Club. If they get the rights to use it, it's all done. They'll manipulate.
They never will. But
to go with that, though, I mean, if you look at that, that's like saying when they first came over, they were hot, and for the WWE fans, they listened, they heard, there's a backstory, there's a background for these guys.
It was Corey Graves pushing them.
For the hardcore, Graves did a phenomenal job of that. Michael Cole was the first one to bring up Japan. But when you look at the real fans who know the backstories of this, know that when they all came together, it was kind of BS that they had him coming right away, because the night before AJ announced that he was coming to WWE, he was kicked out of the Bullet Club. And who was he kicked out by? He was kicked out by Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. So they came out and they beat him up in the middle of the ring with Kenny Omega and kicked AJ out of the ring. And then 2 months later, they're teaming up again. So for the hardcore fans, we know that backstory. For the WWE fans, these guys have a backstory. Let's see what they're going to do. And they did have a run because they had a run with who? John Cena and Chris Jericho, and that's what they got them started. Now, they moved brands and like that, but when I saw them get taken apart, it had nothing to do with them being hot and them not wanting to carry that. It had everything to do with the WWE destroying what wasn't theirs. Now, to go back on that, you're talking about that if the WWE was ever going to do it, if it wasn't theirs, they weren't going to do it. Well, same thing happened with Woken Matt Hardy. And that's been one of the best stories that's happened over the last year and what he's done with that character. Yeah.
Well, though they actually wanted Broken Matt Hardy from the beginning, Woken Matt Hardy. But they had to get through the legality aspect of it, and then they found a way of doing it. All right, we won't call him Broken. We'll call him Woken. They wanted that. They talked about it since day one. They just had to wait for or find the perfect way of transcending it over. And he was coming from TNA with that, which it was at the time the main competition. So it was almost like at the time someone coming from WCW over in a sense.
But also, too, it's like to your point where, like, they may not know who the Club. I have my Club shirt, and when I still wear it out, I'm not getting reference to, it's AJ Styles. It's like, hey, Too Sweet, what's up? Who's doing it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that's not just the fact that, they may be somebody from this or that. It's somebody wearing a WWE shirt.
Yeah.
That season. It's like, oh, it's the club. Too sweet. So it's not like it's, but
yeah.
I
know. I can tell you right now, we could do an entire show on this easily. And I think we might need to do that. But let's push through SmackDown because we're running we're going through time, and I still want to talk about Money in the Bank. There was 2 matches that I wanted to throw in here at the end, and they're not the finishing matches, but there are 2 matches I think to me made some kind of impact on me, either positive or negative. The first one was Lana, which is awesome.
Lana's number 1.
Yeah,
Lana is the best.
Oh my gosh!
And when he pulled that sign out, Lana Day, everybody lost it. That was brilliant.
So I said this about 2 weeks ago. They had so much heat, or they had so much going with Lana at one point, and then they let her start wrestling, and they were like, "Oh crap, we made a mistake," and then pushed her away. So to have her come back, for the minute match it was. She had some good moves going on there. She looks a lot better than she did the first match, which is good. She got her first win, but it's exactly what they needed for her to come back in with the outside stuff, with Aiden English, all that good stuff. I think it was perfect. And I think it's good that they put her in the match because you're getting those fans that go with her, because there's a crap load of Lana fans out there, man. I mean, it is what it is. It's still WWE. You put a really nice, good looking woman out there, then it rolls.
But also too, with the way that they're kind of portraying it is, Rusev's is in the men's, now Lana's in this one. So that whole push, like Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank co-oping together. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but there's a possibility that it could. And it could also lead to, like they mentioned on SmackDown too, that one year when Lana was managing Rusev and they went on that undefeated streak. Well, now that she's back, she's looking better than she did before in this match, even though granted it was a short one. The fact that you could have a powerhouse dominant couple that both have a Money in the Bank contract together.
Now, since I predicted, now I know Janetty's about to say something, but I'm going to throw this in here because this is perfect. Since I predicted the fact that I did call out that Billie Kay was the next Jillian Hall, and she proved it by her singing skills, okay? I'm going to predict this and say that what's going to end up happening is WWE is going to ruin that by somehow getting Rusev. Rusev's going to get jealous at one point because he's going to feel like it's taking it away from him again. That's how WWE is going to screw this up. Mark it down, write it down on this date. Masonic Vader predicted that WWE is going to screw it up by getting the jealousy bit in there. I'm throwing it out there. All right, Janetty, what were you about to throw in?
Not going to happen, because why? They have one of the best managers going for them in Aiden English. He's no longer a wrestler. He's a valet for Rusev and Lana, and that's all he is. And I love the fact he comes out, he sings his songs, he gets the crowd into it. He's rapping. The man, he has completely put the bar village in the dumpster and lit it on fire and said, I am here and I'm an actual talent. I got rid of Simon Gotch, and I actually have something of value. And the fact that a couple weeks ago we were talking about how when Lana came out, like, oh, what's this really going to mean for English? Are they going to take him away? Is it going to have a feud there? The fact that they're all just meshing and rolling well together, I think that is fantastic. And the fact that it's not the traditional Lana's there for them, English is there for them. And I think that is a different dynamic. And I'm interested to see what it's going to do, because I think it's going to work.
Just as long as they don't, once again, just as long as they don't do a jealousy thing, because obviously it's working for New Day, because this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing another New Day thing kind of happening. As long as they keep trying to pull the New Day thing where they're not breaking them up, they're not trying to make them jealous, they all like being together. As long as they keep that going, they can make that happen. And I'm excited about that, because I've been a fan of Lana since she's been in there. I once again, I'm not going to lie. You put someone really nice on TV every week, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the time that she's on TV. I guarantee Corey Graves would say the same thing.
Yeah, God's greatest creation.
Exactly.
I was waiting for a
exactly. But now you're getting some wrestling skills finally, which is what everyone's wanted her to have, is because she's had the mic skills. Now the wrestling's starting to come in, so I'm really hoping they don't drop the ball on this one and really make things happen with it.
I mean, and even seeing her, even though the match was only a minute long, we've said it all before. She looks a lot better than she did a year ago when she was wrestling Trent.
She looked a lot more fluid in her movements around the ring and then with the moveset herself. Now, given that could have been a little bit because of who she was, she's fighting Billie Kay, so she's going to look good. But if Lana was that bad, Billie Kay is not the talent to make Lana look good.
No.
So I think that came from Lana actually having some work done and coming in prepared.
Now let's not totally dump on Jillian Hall. I mean, Billie Kay. I've seen her in NXT, and she's got the move sets are there right now. The Iconics are obviously a hot commodity, if you want to call them that. Peyton Royce, I want to say, is the more athletic of the two, and I'm not down. And Billie Kay itself, I've seen some of her matches. She's had some good matches, but like I said, I predicted it. She is the next incarnation of Jillian Hall. I'm sure she'll get a match and maybe even a victory and possibly even a belt sometime. I mean, they gave Jillian Hall one, so. But yeah, no, it's. She's not bad as when it comes to wrestling. She's just not great. And it was a good starting match for Lana to start pushing her forward. The next test is obviously gonna be Money in the Bank, because that's a whole different ball game. That's the top talent wrestling all in the same ring. 8 ladies with freaking ladders and everything else. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna have Lana do in the if they're gonna actually have her freaking go ladder out, man.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next match, and this is the probably crappiest match, and I'm throwing it out there. Andreas Cien, almost his push since coming over has sucked.
How about we just skip over it?
I'm putting this out here, so hopefully other people will watch it and maybe throw it in there, and maybe someone will sit there and give me shit for it. But dude, Andreas Cien Almos came out of NXT on fire. He got himself a manager. He's a top wrestler. I don't like everything he does about it, but when it comes down to it, when you watch his matches, he goes, man. And right now they're having him face a bunch of scrubs, Iron Mike Sharps, freaking every other one else you could throw it out there, and they're just crapping on him. Get his ass in a match against a Jeff Hardy or anybody else I know
we're just doing it really quickly. Or even do it when you brought Shinsuke up to the main roster and he had like a little mini feud with Dolph Ziggler. They didn't do that with Shinsuke, and even though that was a little mini feud, I still, there's still some pretty good matches between him and Dolph. Shinsuke and Dolph. So do something like that with Cien.
What it comes down with Cien is that he has the makings, the look, and the talent to be a top tier star. There's enough talent on that roster, has nothing going for them right now. And he could have came in and went right through a program with somebody. What's Randy Orton doing right now? Nothing. What would have been a great match for a new guy coming on the roster to fight a legend? Just Absolutely. Like Randy did. Those would have been some great matches. But instead of having the jobber route, and it's just ridiculous they keep going to this route. Some guys, I can see them doing it. Obviously when they did with Braun, we knew he was going to destroy everybody, so let him do it.
But that was fun. That was great. Watching him throw one guy from one turnbuckle to the other corner is phenomenal.
Yeah. It was letting him do it without destroying the talent, the main roster, and then that was great. This right here is not doing anything for anybody, and it's a waste of time when they can be using this talent some other way down the road or on the card with all this other talent they have. Like I said, Randy Orton would have been a great talent for this guy to come in to mess with.
This is where SmackDown needs a third hour. This is where you start running into, because now you look at, and this is the reason why they need it sooner rather than later. Because
if you look at the cards, we had like 6 matches on SmackDown, and like 14 matches on Raw.
Yeah, and you got people like Cien Almos, just freaking like trying to make his mark. I mean, his mic skills suck, and I understand that's the reason why he has a manager. He's Shinsuke. Shinsuke doesn't have a manager. Shinsuke's got really cool now music.
No speaking English.
Yeah. It's just
pill fight.
But they can't let Cien fall apart.
No,
they can't let it happen. They got him. They got to get him to start pushing, or they got to start pushing him for main, or at least not freaking crap talent. They need to put him in against those mid-card guys and start pushing them. He's not going to be heavyweight champion anytime soon, and I don't think he ever will, to be perfectly honest with you. But U.S. title holder, Intercontinental champion, he could be a Jeff Jarrett, for God's sake. Guys, or even just put him up to Miz now.
Let's put it this way. No, because we got something else with the Miz.
Yeah, we'll work. But I'm just saying, kind of give him that idea.
If they don't do it right, we're going to have another Austin Aries situation coming up. And that's what I don't want us to happen, because I personally think that he could be a better talent than Aries.
Well, he's made it to the main roster, though. Aries never made it to the main roster. Between that and his injury is what held him back. So
he did.
He made it to the main roster. 2 days. 2 days doesn't count, man.
He had like a full program with Neville.
Yeah.
That was all NXT. That was leftover.
That was cruiserweight. That was 205.
Oh, exactly. 205, not SmackDown. I didn't see that stuff. It was on 205 Live.
You saw it on Raw, because that's where the cruiserweight.
Oh my God. It was garbage.
205. This was before 205 went live. It was the 205 division on Raw, when they had like the 1 or 2 matches a night on Raw. When the roast became purple, like, ladies and gentlemen, here's the cruiserweights.
Yeah, they lost it with Austin Aries. That's all. Yeah, good times.
How about the Miz?
Yeah. I wanted to save that for last, because I want to say, because I was watching that, and right now you got New Day. Miz is awesome. New Day's awesome. That you could have watched that for an hour.
Oh, absolutely.
Compare that to Sami Zayn. I think Malice Corp Twitter actually tweeted something like that about that. Hot garbage, and then phenomenal.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I would rather have eaten the pancake stone at the Miz's face than watch any more of
Shame.
All right. The other point I want to bring up too, real quick. Did anybody catch Corey Graves' reference to Fortnite when they were talking about Woods' is up, down, down?
Oh yeah,
I was dying. He's like, this is
that wasn't
Fortnite.
No,
that was Miz.
Yeah,
that was Miz.
No. I know. Miz was talking about Fortnite. But when Xavier, or when during the match, when Kofi was sitting there talking with Corey, he's like, Woods, what's he thinking? This isn't Tilted Towers. You can't just floss on people. You're like waving his hips, doing the wobble when you come down. Yeah. No, Graves was the one that said that, but I know Miz mentioned Fortnite too. But it was great.
Yeah,
like, that whole promo, the match, even with like, hold on, intermission real quick, and they did like a little boxing ring with thge.
And they brought the maple syrup out. He's like,
it's comedy. We're laughing about it, but it was great.
No, that's what I'm saying, man. This is where I hope WWE doesn't do the whole like freaking someone gets jealous thing. They should give it to Xavier Woods, because he's the X factor out of the 3. He should get that Money in the Bank chance. I'm not saying Kofi couldn't do it, but as Miz says, Miz has had it, or Miz said it. Kofi's had many shots at it. I don't think Big E should be in the ladder match, because of the fact that Big E, I mean, you already got enough beef going on in the freaking match. You don't need to throw Big E in there. Keep them as a tag team. Let Xavier shine for once.
And that's most likely what's going to happen. But even with him, the Miz trying to drive that wedge in between them, they're like, they knew that they're being humble when Xavier's like, who do you think it should be? Xavier? Honestly, it should be Kofi. And the Kofi's like, honestly, it should be Big E. And it should be Xavier. So they're all on the same page with it. It's just the way the programming. I think we will see Xavier, just based on the 2 matches he had a couple weeks ago. The first week against Cesaro or Sheamus, and then the week after, even though he lost to Cesaro, I think it's going to be Xavier. We're kind of getting that Xavier push.
Absolutely.
With the New Day. With
I said that about 3 weeks ago.
I think we're going to get all 3 of them out there, and then it's going to be a last second, and they're going to do some kind of BS with the 3 of them and round robin it. So that's I just see that happen until everybody just destroys 2 of them and 1 guy's left. And I think at that point it will be Xavier. But yeah, I think there's going to be some kind of comedic scene to happen with it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm excited, man, because I have seen Xavier Woods since his first days at NXT, and I know he was Austin Creed beforehand in other promotions, but man, I have seen him just freaking tear up NXT. And I saw the personality of it. Dude, if it wasn't for freaking Donald Glover, I think he could have pulled off a Lando Calrissian. That's what I think, man. That fro is working, man. His fro is working, dude.
It is.
I'm excited, man. X is finally getting his push.
Later on tonight, 24 hours from now.
Less than 24 hours now. Like 16 hours.
Yeah. All right, guys. So Smack. Yeah, the Miz.
We got one more match.
All right, throw it out. Go for it.
It leads into the next story.
Yeah,
go
Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy.
That's right. I knew it. Thank you very much.
Great match.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan is my favorite wrestler of this generation, at least of this current group. And I don't want to go on the whole emotional thing, dude. It's awesome to see him have his second chance, which is awesome. Samoa Joe and freaking Daniel Bryan, phenomenal. I am excited to see this. The Malice Corp Twitter, SmackDown Twitter threw it out there, dude. This is match of the year quality, not even happening on pay-per-view.
All I know is I hope that Daniel Bryan just destroys Samoa Joe. Given I don't really think that Bryan is in the running to be a champion at the moment. I don't think they should give him that. But I think that after what we saw last night, the moveset he was doing moves last night that I didn't ever think he would ever do again. And he was looking fluid in that match.
Yeah.
And I think that him in a ladder match, Money in the Bank against all these other guys, he's obviously going to be a smaller guy, going to be a faster agility, just to run up the ladder. You know, just mentioned a moment ago about not having any more beef in there with Big E. Well, why would they put Samoa Joe, who was a full-blown sumo wrestler, in this match when they can have Daniel Bryan give some more speed and agility to that? I think it's going to be a great match next week between the two of them. Mm-hmm. I think Daniel Bryan's going to win that match, and he's going to be that final spot for the Money in the Bank and men's side.
MindFreak. Not only that, too. Yes, I have mine, too. I had mine off to the side for this segment, yeah. No, it's same thing, but not only that too, you put him in the Money in the Bank ladder match, you also are going to have him and the Miz in the Money in the Bank, and that sets up their promo, which we've been waiting for. And that was one of the biggest things, you know, Miz, you're going to SmackDown per request of Daniel Bryan, have their feud start in the middle of the Money in the Bank ladder match, and we're set till Survivor Series.
That's exactly what we're going to get. We're going to get the Miz and Daniel Bryan and that program coming out of that night. And I think that might end up being the biggest story coming out of Money in the Bank.
Yep. Happy belated birthday to Daniel Bryan.
Yes, happy belated birthday to Daniel Bryan.
Yes. But here, I know he's not ready for title contention, but I will say this: for the guy to have to give up his belt runs both times because of injuries, thank you WWE for keeping him in the loop. Thank you for at least having him be close to that, and so eventually, when you guys are ready for him, it's not like he's just automatically coming underdog again. He shouldn't have to sit there. I think he's earned his title matches. I know some people say, well, yes, knock the ring rust off. But the minute his ring rust is good and off, and he's doing his matches like he was before, title match needs to come. He's earned it. He never lost his belts. He had to give them up.
Mm-hmm. And even so, like, you know, him talking about the ring rust. I mean, you know, him coming back and then jumping into that huge match, even though it was interrupted by Shinsuke, but that great match with him and AJ. You know, even though it was the main event of SmackDown, it was looking good. It looked like he didn't have ring rust. Let's
not forget his attitude, man. Cass is on the freaking shelf, man, because he went ballistic and tore up his knee. In fact, I even think I saw something where I don't know if he said this, so don't quote me on it if Daniel Bryan sees this and hashtags or does whatever, but I heard something saying he's going to snap Samoa Joe's ACL. So I'm looking forward to seeing that match, man. I want.
But the cool thing is too, it's you're seeing that hostile side of Daniel Bryan. Like, look what he did to Cass. But then, you know, going into last night when he had the match with Jeff Hardy, huge respect from both of them. They even shook hands before the match. So
that was a great match.
It was a great match. The two top matches, Seth Rollins and Daniel and Hardy.
Yeah,
for me for this week. But the fact that, you know, he's one side is like, you know, I put practically talking. Yeah, Cass is gone for a while because of me. And then whoever I have to face, after Jeff Hardy, it's going to be, a monumental match. Got to get through Jeff Hardy. It's going to be that tough mountain. To go out and shake his hand, to have a great match, to have that stare down with Samoa Joe.
And
Absolutely.
if you look at it, Cass just came back from injury. Daniel Bryan put him on the shelf. Now, if you go the route, Samoa Joe just came back from injury. Now Daniel Bryan can put him on the shelf. Then you got a whole different storyline going on. And, Miz just came back from a short leave. You got that storyline going. It writes itself. But, Daniel Bryan being in this Money in the Bank match, like I said earlier, it's a top pay-per-view now. And having him showcase in that main match is going to be a great thing for him and him going forward, especially since his contract ends September. This is going to be a great summer for Daniel Bryan to see if he stays long.
Yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of which, we're going to Money in the Bank. Just as a reminder, though, I just want to take a second to once again thank our parent show, Malice Corp. These guys are bringing us to you. So make sure, once again, top left-hand corner, follow those sites there. Malice Corp is making this possible. So make sure you check them out. And also, as you can find cool swag like this for $10 on Amazon, go to Malice Corp, click on the little link down below where you'll see Amazon, and then go ahead and purchase your stuff. It actually helps out the site so we can continue bringing shows like this to you. So let's head into the Money in the Bank match. It's shaping up really good. I am excited for the ladies versus the guys right now. And the only reason why I say that is because last year was the first time they had Money in the Bank for the ladies. And it was an all right match. It was, I think it got wasted because of the Carmella crap and doing it 2 times over. But now you've got the new, the Money in the Bank coming around this time around. The talent level's solid. I think the expectations are going to be higher than before because of what was going on. It's not a full roster yet from what you see on there. Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you think? You think it's going to steal the show?
We have, yeah, absolutely. And I think that the Money in the Bank, I mean, if you look at the Women's Royal Rumble, it was a great match. The Hell in a Cell match, they've done great things to get past that mess of a match and situation that was the Money in the Bank last year. We do have 1 spot left. It's a Raw spot. Personally, I think we're going to get Ruby Riott in that final spot. Because I believe she's in that mega match next week that's going to determine the last person to come in.
Yep.
If you look at everybody who's in the Money in the Bank, from SmackDown we have Charlotte, Becky, Lana, and Naomi, and then from Raw we have Ember Moon, Alexa, and Natty. And I think that last spot for me. Just add the fact that Liv and Sarah and Logan were in the match against Natalya. I think that just sets it up for Ruby Riott being in that match. I don't think you can have a match without her or someone from that faction in the match. Then you're going to see a little bit different storylines going on in that. I'm hoping and going for it, and I'm hoping that even though I think that can lead to a story if Natty were to win it and whatever that may be, I don't think Charlotte and Alexa deserve to have the Money in the Bank because they just had title runs. And Ember Moon, I think, and Lana. Well, Ember Moon just too new to the roster. I don't care. They could say the whole page one, her first night, whatever it may be. I just don't feel Ember Moon's at the caliber to be the next champion. Or Naomi or Lana. And so when it comes down to that, no matter who takes that 8th spot, I feel that the winner of this match needs to be, and it's going to be Becky Lynch.
I see that. I see either her or Natalya, quite frankly. Two, like you said. Yeah. The rest of the group, they're just all phenomenal talent. Like you said, they've all had recent runs. And I do think Ember Moon's going to be there at some point. She's actually, I think what she's going to be in that match is she's going to be the holy crap or this is awesome moment. She's going to pull something out.
I'm calling this now. I don't know who it is, but she is hitting somebody with a total eclipse off the top of like a 30-foot ladder or a 20-foot ladder, whatever the top.
Dude, we're gonna get a moonsault from Charlotte. Yep. We're gonna get Alexa in hers. We're gonna see some big spots happen.
Somebody's getting hit with a total eclipse.
We're going to see more spots come out of the women's match than we will men's match, and I'll put that down now.
I would not be surprised if we get some blood in that match. I think the girls are going to go all out, and it's just going to happen. It's not going to be because someone did the fake cut thing. I think someone's going to go all out and something's going to happen.
Look at somebody's
getting hurt.
Someone's getting hurt. Yeah.
Charlotte started bleeding against Carmella at Backlash, and that was just a regular one-on-one. This is going to have ladders. It's going to have, they're going to be using tables, or the not tables, but the announcer tables, and then there's chairs. It's going to come out, and there will be blood in this match. And
absolutely. So you go from the ladies, you go to the men. So right now the men have Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens. Obviously, we talked about New Day, one of them picking out, hopefully Xavier, Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe.
And then we got the Miz and Rusev in that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's your match, and we figure it's going to be big, or it's going to be Xavier and Daniel Bryan thrown in, which I think makes sense because it'll off balance the meat and actually make it a match versus people getting destroyed or pummeled by ladders. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to pull that one off?
I think in that one, you have a lot of good talent. You're kind of setting up, like we talked about earlier, a lot of different storylines being set up in that one, this and that. Honestly, I think it's going to come down to one or two people, from either one from Raw, one from SmackDown. From Raw, I can see it coming down to Finn, only because, he never really lost the Universal title. He had to relinquish it, so this is a good way to get him back up in the top end of things with the Universal title in and of itself. And then on the SmackDown side, Janetty's going to hate me for saying this one, but I think it's going to be The Miz. I mean, he in all honesty, the reason I say that is because of the fact that, the title that he made prestigious, that he made the most wanted thing that Seth is continually currently holding with the Intercontinental title and keeping that, the prestigious of that title going in. I think you set it up to where The Miz wins Money in the Bank. He cashes it in at some point, and that leads up between him and Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam for the title.
Now, I agree, and I think that's probably going to be the outcome. But I'm going to throw. I've already mentioned his name a couple times tonight. I'm going to throw it out there because just the sheer freaking pop of it. Xavier Woods pulls off the upset. New Day goes around for the next 6 or 7 months carrying the Money in the Bank freaking briefcase.
With pancakes.
Makes it with pancakes loaded up. Yeah, absolutely. And no BS. If they actually let it go the way all the way through where he actually cashes it in and wins, could you imagine the scene of Xavier Woods winning a championship with the Money in the Bank with the New Day? That would be freaking like at least high ratings for that first show afterwards, because it's just a simple fact that
afterwards would be fantastic.
It would
absolutely.
It would, but honestly, thinking about it too, if you go with the Miz, that first episode of Miz TV will be phenomenal as well, because not only do you have the talent, you have two, you have out of all the New Day, honestly, I think Xavier is the best one on the mic. Hands down. And I think partly due to that reason is the fact because of up, down, down. But then on the flip side, you have The Miz, who is incredible on the mic. So
I want to say Xavier is the best of all time, that we should hashtag him on our show. Maybe he could push one of those 1.4 million viewers to check us out once in a blue moon, man. Holy crap. 1.4. Xavier's the man, dude. That's why I think he needs to get a push. He needs to get a push.
He is. But don't just be like, bring him on the show just so we can preserve views.
No, they gotta get a bet, man.
To go with that, I personally think that the Miz or Finn would do great things with this. I think that Finn absolutely deserves it, just because he kind of got jipped out of the title match, his belt, and then just hasn't really had the opportunity to get it back yet for no reason. I think he'd do great as a face with that briefcase. I think that Miz obviously would be just extraordinary with that briefcase. But when it comes down to, I don't think either one of them need that briefcase going forward. I think they both can get to that next level without the briefcase. When it comes down to me, I think it's going to be one of two guys. They're both going to be on Raw. Or actually, no, one of them's on Raw. One is on SmackDown. And I think these two guys one's always hot. One's hotter than that. Has never been as hot as he is now. And I think they both benefited, both face and heel, and that's going to come down to either Rusev or Kevin Owens.
I'll say it already, for God's sake, man.
I think that I don't think that either one. I think either one of them are up, at the level to where they need that push, and I think that they would be two people that would benefit the most out of having that briefcase. Kevin Owens obviously has been there, but he's got the whole storyline he can use with that. I can already picture that storyline with him. But Rusev, I think Rusev's going to end up being the one that walks down with that briefcase.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so here let's throw through a couple more of these matches. Obviously, we got some time for this show, for Money in the Bank coming around. But out of the matches that I see in here, I'm getting kind of nervous when you look at this roster matchup, because then you got AJ Styles and Shinsuke, which we've talked about earlier, and I think we could spend more time on another show. You got Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal. As much as I like seeing Jinder fight right now, because you've got, that actually might push him face for a night. I think that's a pushover match. The one that actually is going to probably drive me insane is going to be the SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella versus Asuka.
I knew that was coming.
It's going to drive me insane, bro. I'm just telling you right now, dude. Asuka should be the champion.
I think
she should win the match
in 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, some BS is I'm sure they're gonna interject somebody. Thank God it's not gonna be No Chin, because he's some champ at some other spot.
If anybody gets interjected in that championship match, the only logical thing that I could see would be in the Iconics.
No.
So, I think it's go for it.
There's two people who are no longer in the running for the ladder match. There was pictures of them posted last night.
Why didn't I see this? Why did I not see this one coming?
Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and I think that they're going to be there to help her out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I concur.
I can't believe I did not see that one coming. You're absolutely right.
You're absolutely right, because that's the only way Carmella can legitimately keep the freaking title as long as they're expecting her to, is because she's got to have that freaking help. And it drives me insane every freaking time WWE does it. It drove me insane when Seth Rollins had J&J Security. It drove me insane when freaking Triple H had DX. To a point, that was fun. But ultimately, WWE does it too much. They put one of the most hated people on there winning the damn belt, especially one of the people that probably couldn't even win a freaking fight against any of these ladies. And she's going to keep the belt for 7 months.
Hold on.
She could probably beat Liv Morgan. She
did beat Charlotte Flair when she retained the title, so you can't say anything about that. She did that one all on her own.
And Charlotte Flair beat Asuka, so...
So what's wrong with what's wrong with our Crown Princess of Staten Island having a little bit of security?
If we
having a royal guard,
anything to be known, Mala is money.
I hate you guys. I hate you guys.
And that was the final broadcast, bro.
Yeah. I'm sorry to say, guys, no longer Malice Smack Talk anymore. It's going to be Masonic Vader Smack Talk, because he jackasses over here. No, I was kidding. No, I get it. I understand why Mella's there right now. It's because she has a lot of heat on her. The women's division, they don't really have they don't have a heel. This is their heel right now. There's really no. Natty was heel for a while, and it wasn't even a good heel. It was just a forced upon heel. So I get it
as a heel.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand why she is where she is because she's got the mic skills and she's got tremendous heat. However, it just. They got to do something different. There's somewhere down the line, someone's got to come up with a different formula and be able to come out with a way of being able to get people that are title deserving, like Becky Lynch, who could actually kick the crap out of people. And Mella is all about the show, and she has some go, but she's more show. And you guys know that her mic skills are what are carrying her right now. And if it wasn't for anything, her in-ring ability has gotten a hell of a lot better since NXT. So I'm not dumping on that. But is it to the level where she's going to carry that championship for 8 or 9 months?
No, I'm going to tell you
AJ, like an AJ Lee. Like AJ Lee was probably – yeah, I mean, come on.
Absolution is going to come out and beat up Asuka. Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky are going to come out and help her out and take out Absolution. Becky, they're going to beat up Carmella. And Becky's going to cash in the briefcase and take the belt home out of Money in the Bank.
So if any of you people from WWE writing or watching this, I think we're all available for hire. If you want to pay us, right?
I will fly to Connecticut tonight if I need to.
Yeah, same here. Not a problem. I think we all have a. I know Janetty has a couple stipulations on if he wants to be a writer. I know I have one or two, but I mean.
I got a stipulation. You got to do it by one of these chat rooms because I got a kid and I just don't feel like moving far away. But still, but yeah, guys. So I think we're gonna leave it at that for tonight. We've still got some time. We definitely had a good talk tonight, man. I think this is by far one of our best and longest ones out of all of our episodes. But
make up for last week.
Yeah,
not only to make up for last week, but I'm really hoping you people, hey, quit messing up, man. I didn't want to have them hearing this all the time like they had about 3 weeks ago.
Hey, yeah, that's true. But hey, I was still here. Dedication. The show must go on.
Yeah, that show sucked because we kept hearing the nasal drip. But what I'm getting to you people who are watching the show is pass this along because not many chat shows you have that I've seen on podcasts where you've got this much interaction, this much involvement. We're not paid for doing this. We're just fans, lifelong fans of WWE. We're not former wrestlers. We're not former WWE employees. We're just people that love the brand, love the entertainment, and you're getting high quality conversation like this. And we also love to read up the stuff when you guys are on there. So when you're watching our show, make sure you put some stuff in chat because we'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Tell us that you disagree. Tell us you suck. I don't care. I just want to know that you got 3 guys here that are really talking some good stuff, and we're going to be adding more people this later on because bottom line, you're just getting real talk out of this show.
And if you don't like that, we got 2 words for you.
MindFreak, tell them where they can follow you, man.
Well, as it's shown at the top of the screen, I'm backwards right now.
It's over your right shoulder, man.
Oh, my right shoulder. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
You can always follow me on Twitter at MindFreakMLG. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BTBMindFreak and on Instagram _MindFreak.
Janetty?
Well, you can follow the champ at Marty
_Vasquez
VASQEZ87. That's both Twitter and Instagram, talking wrestling at all times.
You know, I mean, he has a championship belt, but he still isn't the fellow that could take down the Bella.
Damn. And of course, you can follow Masonic Vader, but the big thing is just up the left-hand corner. Follow us on Malice Smack Talk. Check out Malice Corp, our parent show, one more time. There's a heck of a lot of great entertainment on there. You got Quest for 100. You got Comics for All. There's a ton of shows on there. You can find your fun stuff and really load up on some stuff. There's a lot of knowledge when it comes to the nerd stuff here because ultimately when it comes down to it, we're wrestling nerds. And exactly. And by the way, I got to throw this in there, man. Nerdometer onesie, dude. I gotta love that, dude. That was awesome.
Dude, that was one of their shirts for a while, dude.
Yeah, man. I think they didn't make that a shirt.
No, they did.
Anyways, well, good. Well, they didn't bring it back out because I don't have one. I'm gonna get one.
You can still order it.
All right. Well, this has been Malice Smack Talk, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Follow us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Go out for the 1, 2, 3. We're out.